I'm not entirely sure how much of this I can actually take apart. I'm hoping to get the boiler off so that I can clean that up, but I believe the steam pipe is soldered at both ends, so I'm not sure how far this will go, but well, we'll give it a go. The first thing I'm going to do is take off the little cap that I made and the cylinder cover, because that comes off quite easily. Come on. There we go. Obviously we can't take that off because it stopped both ends. So whistle should unscrew. There we go. Well, that's interesting, and the whistle turns, but it's not actually unscrewing. That's going to need some attention. Now, let me have a look. The conrod, close in a little bit on that for you. I don't know how well you can see that. There's a little screw that holds the conrod to the piston rod, so we can take that out and that'll disconnect that. And then on the other side here, there is a little screw that holds the eccentric strap to the piston valve, so we can take that out too. So hopefully they will come out without too much trouble. It's not even tight, which is useful. Little tiny weeny screw. No nut or anything, just threaded. There is a split in the yeah, absolutely tiny. There's a split in the piston rod, so that comes off. Let's see whether we can get our little screwdriver. That's loose as well. That's all right. So we can get our screwdriver in there and undo that. Bit of an awkward angle. I haven't got any right angled screwdrivers that would be small enough to turn that. But it is loose, so let's go. That's obviously going to prove to be difficult. I'm going to have to do it the long-winded way. I'll come back in a minute. So these are now disconnected, both the conrod and the eccentric strap which drives the valve. So that's good. Now there is a couple of screws that hold the valve block onto this little bracket here. If I tip that up, I don't know how well you'll be able to see that, but in there there's a couple of screws, so that will release the valve block from the bracket that holds it. So we can do that, hopefully take those off. Assuming they're come undone. Right, that's not the right size screwdriver for that. I'm going to have to get another screwdriver. Now, we've got the right size screwdriver, so hopefully we can take that off with a bit of luck. Well, they're coming undone. There we go. Okay, so this is now free, which is good. So let's see what's under the dome, which I would imagine is simply, this is just a decorative dome. We unscrew the regulator wheel. I'm not sure whether that will come off of there or not, actually. Ah, yeah, there we go. Oh yes, so we have a... Oh, that looks to be threaded. Oh, that's useful. That'll probably unscrew then once we get the boiler off. Let's have a look and see what we've got. Okay, so they should come off then with a bit of luck. There's nuts underneath, little square nuts. Right. Okay, so that's the boiler free. Oh, that's useful. We did get the boiler free, excellent, which is what I wanted. So that should be able to clean up okay. I'll have to work on this. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, it's threaded into the valve block. Excellent. Right, that's superb. So there's the valve block with the piston valve and the cylinder. So that's great. Okay, so that will come off. So that will probably unthread from there. I would have thought with a bit of a jiggery pokery. We've got to take that off, and that probably leave the sight glass. I won't disturb that, but yes, great. We're getting there. Now, the conrod is screwed onto the crank, so hopefully we can unscrew it. Again, not to the right screwdriver. Right, that freed off okay, so now we can unscrew it. Got the conrod with a little spacer. Okay, so the question is, can we withdraw the crank? That's the next question. See, there is a small ferrule on this end of the crank here, but I can't see anything holding the flywheel onto the crank, in which crankshaft. In which case, obviously, we can't, we can't remove that, and yeah, I think that's probably as far as we can go with that. There is no grub screw retaining that. These drive wheels that are on the crankshaft appear to be press fit, so I don't think we can go any further with that. But I think we can take the dummy governor off, because it looks like it's just got some flat bits pushed through the base and then twisted. So we should be able to twist those back, hopefully. Let's get a bigger pair of pliers, and then we should be able to get that off. Well, I've managed to twist them round so that they're in the right plane now, but they're going to need some work to get them. The slots are quite small that they're through, so that I'm going to have to work on those a bit to get those off. Well, I think this is about as far as this assembly is going to go. Did manage to get this out. It was a bit of a fight, but that means we can clean that up nicely. Managed to get the fittings out of the boiler. The whistle was an absolute bastard, but we got there in the end. It obviously got stripped, but to the point where you could turn it and it just wasn't, the thread wasn't engaging, so that will need to be cleaned up, probably soldered back into place. Got the steam pipe off, that threads in nicely into the boiler, so that's going to need to be dunked in vinegar and cleaned up. As you can see, there's a lot of scale and crap on there, but I can't really see any way. It looks like that the flywheel is a press fit on the crankshaft, and if I take it off, then what will happen is it will become loose, and without putting a grub screw or something in, I won't be able to put it back on. Same with the well, I think that's part of the flywheel, that drive wheel, that side, but this side, this drive wheel here is separate, so again that will come loose and I've got no way of fixing that on. These are all permanently fixed to the base, the supports, so is this. There is no way of removing those. So yeah, I think that's pretty much as far as we can go, but it does allow me to get to the firebox, which obviously is where the heater would be in here. So, and I can straighten all this up. So yes, certainly a good way to getting it disassembled, and it will help me immensely with like restoring it. So that's as far as we've got today. Well, as you can see, I changed my mind and decided to remove the flywheel anyway. I'm glad I did, because it's helped me discover some other damage I wasn't aware of. And I also think that what I may do is I may repaint this top part of the frame, because it's quite badly damaged. There's quite a lot of paint missing on this top part. But no, what else did I discover? Well, let's close in on the cylinder extension. Now, as you can see, there's been some work done here. When I got it all stripped down, I noticed that this part here was cracked right the way through at the front, and it was almost cracked all the way through at the back. So this was all loose and wobbly, and I couldn't really see any other way of fixing it. So what I did was, this is cast out of, I'm fairly certain this is cast out of white metal. So you put any heat on this and it will just all melt. So what I decided to do was I cleaned the bottom out, cleaned any paint off that was in there, cleaned it with acetone, and then I mixed up a small amount of chemical metal, and I basically put a fillet of chemical metal all the way through the bottom there. And this is now, this was about 2 days ago, and this is now rigid as it should be. So hopefully that will hold. I've sanded this down. I might sand this down a little bit more, but yeah, it's fixed the breakage, that the crack. There was a crack there and there was a crack there, and it was almost coming off. So yeah, that's a bit of work that I definitely needed to do. And next up, the boiler. Well, as you know, I had a bit of a fight to get the whistle out. It was turning, but it wouldn't unthread. So what has happened there? Well, I think I found, discovered the reason why that was difficult. There is something rattling around inside, and this is what I think has happened. If we look at the threaded hole here for this is where the safety valve was fitted. There is a bush that has been soldered into the brass boiler, and a thread goes in quite deep. There isn't for the turret. That's just got a couple of threads just tapped into the brass. So I reckon that there was another bush like that in here, and basically it had become unsoldered, which is why I couldn't get the whistle out. So not quite sure what I'm going to do about that. I may drill a larger hole out than is already there, and then put my own bush in so that we can still screw the whistle in and out. That's a possibility. The rest of it's fine. Just needs all cleaning up. I'm going to continue working on this, and I'll probably rub this down some more, and then we'll give it just the flat part. I'll mask off the rest of it, and then we'll give it a coat of etch prime, and then coat the top coat. But that's all I'm going to do to this, because the rest of it's fine, and then we'll start working on the boiler. So that's where we are at the moment.